Let's explore the world of Handi-Klasp. Now let's build a barn. There are several types of foundations that we could use. For this tape, we will use piers. It is very important that they are square and level. Time spent here is time well spent. Lay the building out on the piers by marking them from the lines you established with your batter boards. This type of organization is time very well spent. Snap chalk lines from your marks to show where they cross the piers. We will later set the panels on these chalk lines. It is a lot easier to square things up when there is nothing in the way. As is always the case, a good beginning is half the battle. Next, check your marks from corner to corner. Adjust until that measurement is the same. When it is the same, you are square. This is very important, especially if you're going to use plywood and shingles on the roof. If you minimize the errors in the beginning, they will not haunt you as time goes on. Now let's take a few minutes and organize ourselves. If we place the pin clusters, eave brackets, and aisle posts where we are going to use them, they will be handy when our hands are full. There are always shortcuts that make things faster and easier. This is one of them. Let's take a look at the individual pieces. This is an eave bracket. It fastens two outside wall panels to a divider panel at the top. It also holds the end of the roof rafter system. The aisle post connects two front panels at the top to the divider panel. It also holds the rafter system over the stall and over the aisle. This post changes with the different roof styles and different roof pitches. This pin cluster fastens the end wall to the front and serves as a sliding door guide. There are 4 of these, 2 right and 2 left, per building. The 2-way pin clusters go at the bottom 4 corners of the building, connecting the back wall to the end walls. Three-way pin clusters fasten 2 backs or 2 fronts to a divider at the bottom. Now with this knowledge of the hardware, we will start to erect the barn. First, we will set the panels and fronts on the pin clusters. No piece weighs over 150 pounds. Therefore, no special equipment is required to set the barn up. After the wood, roof, and other materials are added, the barn becomes very heavy. It is certified to make a 40 pound per square foot on the roof snow load and a 25-pound wind load, which is in the 90-mile-an-hour range. We knew we could not be present to set the barn up. Therefore, we spent a lot of time and money designing it so that it would be very easy for you to do. This is where you could use some extra hands. Not to lift, but to steady and hold as the barn takes shape. It can even be an old-fashioned barn raising, one that everyone gets involved in and has a lot of fun. Now let's take a close look at the aisle pin post being installed. It fastens 2 fronts and 1 divider together at the top. The eave bracket goes the same way. Piece of cake, right? We just knew you could do it. Now it's time to put up some of the rafters. The straight back-to-back channels go from eave bracket to aisle post. They are held in place by 4 bolts. This end rafter closes up the end wall of the barn. They bolt to themselves. The vertical tubes are to accommodate the exterior covering you desire to use on the outside wall of your building. If you desire a window in the end of your barn, it would also be put into this rafter. Any siding that is common to the building trade can be used. T111 cedar siding, painted steel, lap straight board siding, or whatever else you choose to get the desired look you want. You see, Handi-Klasp barns have the flexibility to blend in and add beauty to your situation. We feel there is no need to look like a portable barn with metal seams showing. Now let's put a center rafter over the aisle. Again, it goes from aisle post to aisle post. 4 bolts hold it in place. Let's put another end rafter up so you can see how easily it goes. Slips down in place. 4 bolts hold it there. To be sure the rafters are plumb on the end walls, use a level and measure the distance from the end rafter to a stall rafter. That measurement will be used to cut out the notch for the 2x8 nailers to get the overhang you desire. 2 foot is a nice look. Measure from the end of the 2x8 nailer to the location where you want the notch to start. Use the measurement you just got from the rafters. Make a mark. Then add 1.5 inches and make another mark. Set your skill saw to a depth of 1 1/2 inches. Make 2 cuts, 1 on each mark. Next, lay the nailer down and knock the wood out between the 2 cuts. Very simple. If there are questions we did not answer, please feel free to call us.